Dangal greetings, sir. We are here to discuss the point of sale speed inventory system for a grocery store for our final project. My name is Carly Galang from 2ITB. My student number is 2101326.
Dangal greetings, I am Catherine Ascension and my student number is 2101910.
Dangal greetings, I am Charisma Azores and my student number is 2101760.
Dangal greetings. My name is Joanna Marie A. Batayon. My student number is 2101486.
Dangal greetings, I am Eliza May Osamante and my student number is 2101523.
I am Carly Galang from 2ITB and I will explain the HTML file of our final project. In the head tag, we have the link for style sheets and the jQuery in the script tag. In the body, we have the starting and login page. After pressing the show login form button, the login modal will pop up that contains the input for username and password. Then the anchor tag contains the forgot password link. After pressing it, it will show the forgot password modal that contains the user's credential. Then after pressing the login button, the main container will appear. Navigation tag for list item. Then each list item have a data attribute for storing custom data. Then in the inventory section, we have the product table. Inventory product list will append the T-body. Then the add product form, we have the button for uploading the image. Then we have the label and input for product name, description, price, and quantity. Then the add product button. In the transaction section, we have the div for transaction product list. It will dynamically added here. Then in the transaction form, we have the cart table. Then the total items, total payable, and the checkout button. After pressing the checkout button, the payment section will appear. The payment section contains the total amount, payment amount, and the change. Then after pressing the submit payment button, the confirmation section will appear. The confirmation section will have the transaction complete in the confirmation message. Then after pressing the return to post button, it will hide all the contents of payment confirmation wrapper. Then in the inventory report section, we have the button for generating the inventory report, and the inventory report output will append in the inventory report table. Then at the sales report section, we have the button for generating sales report. Then after pressing it, the sales report output will append in the sales report table. Then that's the end of the main section. In the body, we have the script tag for main, inventory, transaction, reports, out, accounts, and cart.js. Then we have the script for adding active class in selected list item.
So the line of code $sign that document that ready function is a jQuery shortcut for ensuring that the enclosed code runs only when the DOM is ready. It waits for the HTML document to finish loading before executing the code inside the function. In summary, this code initializes a navigation system will click on navigation items toggles that visit the corresponding sections. It also manages active class to highlight the currently selected navigation item and hides other sections.
The class account type has a constructor method that takes username, password, and role as parameters. Role means the cashier or the admin that uses our point of sale system. It assigns a unique ID to each new account by calling the static method generate_id. The generate_id static method is responsible for generating a unique ID for each account. It retrieves the current ID value from the local storage using the key account ID. If no value is found, it defaults to 0. It increments the ID by 1, updates the value in the local storage, and returns the new ID. The class also includes instance methods such as save, which saves the current account to the local storage, and getAll, which retrieves all saved accounts from the local storage. The save method retrieves all existing accounts at the current accounts of the list, serializes the updated list as a JSON string, and stores it in the local storage. The getAll method retrieves the stored JSON string representing the accounts, parses it into an array of account data objects, creates new account instances for each account data object, and returns an array of those instances. If no stored accounts are found, it returns an empty array.
Dangal greetings, I am Joyce Mazars from 2ITB and I am assigned to explain codes in the login form in our final project. This code contains event handlers for various functions related to a login functionality and user interface update. The first event handler is triggered when the element with the ID show login form is clicked. It slides on the login model by showing it slowly. The second event handler is triggered when the element with the ID model close is clicked. It slides up the login model by hiding it slowly. The third event handler is triggered when the element with the ID forgot password link is clicked. It prevents the default behavior of the link, which is navigation to a new page, and slides down the forget password model by showing it quickly. The fourth event handler is triggered when the element with the ID model close forgot is clicked. It slides up the forget password model by hiding it quickly. The fifth code block defines a function called login user, which takes username and role as parameters. It sets the login user and role in the local storage, hides the login model and the show login form elements. Slide up the start page shows the logout container and updates the displayed login username. Additionally, it sets the user icon based on the role, shows and hides certain navigation items based on the role. While this code handles the logout functionality, check if the user is already logged in and handles the login form submission. The logout user function removes the login user and role from the storage, hides out and logout container, shows the start page, shows the show login form element, hides the inventory section, and hides any navigation items that are not to be hidden. The code then retrieves the login user and role from other local storage. If a user is logged in, it calls the login user function with a retrieve username and role, hides the start page, and if not logged in, it hides the logout container, shows the login container, shows the start page, and sets up the initial state. And finally, the code attaches an event handler to the login form submission. When the form is submitted, it prevents the default form submission behavior, retrieves and enters username and password, gets all accounts, and finds the account that matches the entered username and password. This code adds event handler for the login form submission and the logout button. When the login form is submitted, it retrieves the entered username and password, gets all accounts, and checks if there is a matching account. If a match is found, it calls the login user function with the username and and account row. If no merge is found, it displays an alert indicating invalid credentials. The code is also to set up default login credentials for an admin and a cashier. It checks if an account with the default admin username exists, and if it not, it creates a new admin account with the default username, password, and role. Similarly, it checks if an account with the default cashier username exists, and if not, it creates a new cashier account. These default accounts are saved using the save method. Greetings, I am Joyce Mazoras from 2ITB, and I am assigned to explain the first part in the codes from inventory section of our final project. This code defines a product class with properties such as ID, name, description, price, quantity, image, user ID, action, and creation date. It also includes methods like save, update, and delete for managing product data. The save method is responsible for saving a new product to the local storage. It retrieves the login user, checks if the user exists, adds the product to the list of products, and stores the updated list in the local storage. It also updates the transaction product list. The update method updates an existing product in the local storage. It checks if the user ID is available, finds the product to update based on the ID, updates its properties and stores that updated list back to local storage. It also refreshes the transaction product list. The delete method deletes a product from the local storage. It finds the product to deleted based on the ID, mark it as deleted by updating the action and creation date properties, creates a separate list of deleted products for the user, stores the updated products list in the local storage, and remove the product from the main product list.
Good day, my name is Marica Marganyosa, and I'm gonna continue the explanation of inventory.javascript. The product class, the getAll method retrieves all products from the local storage based on the login user. The getById with ID parameter method retrieves a specific product by its ID. The decrease stocks with products parameter method decreases the stock quantity of the given products. The delete method with ID and login user parameter methods delete a product with the given ID. The constructor method is used to create a new product instances with provided parameters. The save method saves a new product to the local storage. It retrieves all the products, adds the new product to the array, and updates the local storage. The update method updates an existing product in the local storage. The getNextProduct function. This function retrieves the last used product ID from the local storage. If no ID exists, it initializes the ID to 1000. It increments the ID by 1, saves it back to the local storage, and returns the new ID. The document.ready function. This function is executed when the document is fully loaded and ready. It sets up event listeners and handlers for the elements in the HTML. Event handler for edit button. When an element with a class edit button is clicked within inventory product list, it retrieves the product ID associated with the click element. It retrieves the product details using product.getById and fills the form fields with the product data. It sets the image preview based on the product image. It sets the edit state in the product data and changes the button text to update product. Event handler for delete button. When an element with a class delete button is clicked inventory product list, it prompts the user for confirmation to delete the product. If confirmed, it retrieves the product ID and deletes the product using product.delete. It updates the local products array and removes the product item from the HTML. The display inventory product function is used to display a function in the inventory. It creates a new table row with relevant data and buttons for editing and deleting product. If update is true, it replaces the existing product row with updated product row. If updated is false, it appends the product row to the inventory product list and fades it in. Additional functionality. It retrieves the login user from the local storage. If a user log in, it loads and displays all products from the local storage by calling product.getAll method and iterating over the products for each method. It includes functions for resetting the image preview, handling form submissions, and updating the image preview. That's all for inventory JavaScript. Let's proceed to the next presenter.
I will be explaining the cart.js. This cart class provides functionality to manage our point of sale system, including adding items, calculating the total price, processing a checkout, and storing the cart state in the local storage. It has a constructor method that initializes the user ID property with the provided user ID parameter, defaulting to admin if no user ID is provided. It also calls the getItems method to retrieve the cart products from the local storage and assign them to the items property. The getItems method retrieves the cart items from the local storage by constructing a key based on the user ID and retrieves the corresponding JSON string. If the JSON string exists, it is parsed into an array of objects representing the cart items. If JSON string doesn't exist, it returns an empty array. The class also includes methods such as save, which saves the current state of the cart to the local storage, add item, which adds a new item to the cart or increases the quantity of an existing item, get total price, which calculates and returns the total price of all items in the cart, and checkout, which processes the checkout by comparing the payment amount with the total price, updating product quantities in the inventory, creating a transaction object, and clearing the cart. The clear method resets the item's property to an empty array and saves the updated state to the local storage.
We'll just set the initial transaction ID. So here the class transaction has a constructor function that accepts two parameters, which is the cart and payment. It initializes properties of the transaction instance, including all of these. So this static method get_all retrieves the transaction stored in the browser's local storage, while the add_transaction static method adds a new transaction to the list of transactions stored in the browser's local storage. This function displays transaction products is responsible for displaying a list of products in a transaction. So here this will just store the data with these two variables. So this is just the CSS of transaction product list to display. So for each product, it checks if the quantity property is equal to 0 and skips the product and moves to the next iteration. If not skip, it checks if a corresponding product item exists in the transaction product list. So if not, it creates a new product item by creating a div element with the class transaction product item and an ID based on the product's ID. So it creates an add to cart button with an icon and text label. The button has a click event handler that prompts the user to enter a quantity to add the cart. It then validates the input, and if valid, adds the product to the cart and updates the quantity in the product list. So here a quantity paragraph element is created appended to the product item to display the remaining quantity of the product in stock. So if a product item already exists for a product, it updates quantity paragraph element with the current product's quantity.
I will be explained in the next line of codes. The update cart display function updates the cart's visual representation by clearing the existing contents and dynamically populating it with the current items in the cart. It calculates the total numbers of items and payable amount and updates the relevant HTML elements accordingly. The remaining code sets up event listeners and handlers, various actions related to the card functionality. It initializes the card object based on the logged in user, displays transaction products, and updates the cart display. It handles actions like adding a transaction, updating payment amounts, submitting payments, and returning to the point of sale. These actions involve showing or hiding different sections, validating inputs, creating transactions, updating product stocks, and updating the cart display as necessary.
This block of code defines a JavaScript class called report. It contains two static methods, display inventory report and display sales report. The class also includes event handlers for two buttons, which trigger the respective methods when clicked. In summary, this code defines a class report with methods to display inventory and sales report. It also sets up event handlers for two buttons to generate these reports when clicked.
Upon running the program, you will see the simple homepage of our program, which includes the login for the admin and cashier user. So it will first let the user to enter their username and pass. So each user has a corresponding program to access. So if the user forgot the password, there is a forgot password here to show their infos. Here is the forgot password. So let's now first log into the admin user. So the admin user has the access in the product inventory, inventory report, and sales report. Let's now click the product inventory. So the product inventory can only access by admin to add product to display in the cashier interface. So let's add now a product. The admin can add image, product name, description, price, and quantity. So you can see it was added to the table. Let's again add a product. So if a product name and description is empty, the program will allow the admin to enter a text here for the admin to add a new product. As you can see, it is not added because the product name and description is empty. So let's add a product name and description, and now it was added. So the admin can edit or delete the product. So let's delete this. Let's edit first this Coke to Coke, and you can see it was updated. And let's try to delete this one, and it was deleted. So the inventory report will just show the summary of the product inventory and if how many stocks are available. So let's now proceed to the inventory report. Here is the inventory report and the stocks are available. So the sales report will just show the summary sales of the cashier. As of now, there is no sales report. So let's now proceed to the cashier program. So the username is cashier. So here, the cashier can only access the transaction and not the admin site. So you will see all the products here. Is all the products that we added in the admin site. So by clicking the add to cart button, it will ask the user to if how many quantity they want to add and automatically add to cart. If there is no quantity entered, it will be invalid. So we can add item as much as we can. The user can also see the summary of items in a cart and also the total amount to pay. So let's now proceed to the check button first. So the check button will pay the purchase of the user. So if there is no item in the table, there will be alert that says no items in the cart and allow the user to add in a cart. So let's now add to cart. Let's now click the check button. Let's first add to cart. And if we click the checkout button, you can see here your total amount to pay and your cash to how much you will pay and pay it, and it was successful. So let's now proceed to the admin site so we can see the sales report. So here all the sales report that we purchased. These are the summary of the sales report and how many total of sales we